Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my NHL 20 franchise mode here in Columbus, Ohio. In the previous episode, we finished up our last ever regular season of this NHL 20 franchise mode. Now, today we have a little bit of a different episode on our hands, ladies and gents. I know you usually expect the postseason right after the regular season finishes, but this is a special episode. You know, I haven't really looked around the league, and I'm not sure how a lot of teams shape up. But today we are just going to be talking about every team going in depth, seeing how everybody is shaping up. Now, I'm going to leave the regular season stats, and we'll talk about that in the next episode when the playoffs start against the Washington Capitals. But today, I just want to talk about every team. I'm not sure how long this episode is going to be, but I thought it would be good just to see how the league shapes up 25 seasons later. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe we can see who's in a good position to succeed coming into or going into the future. Who's not a good team, who's going to be the next Columbus, because Columbus, as it stands, is not in the best position. We traded away a lot of the farm, as you can tell, in the last few episodes or last few seasons. We've given up a lot to stay competitive, but you have a lot of good pieces in place. Lindstrom, Friesen, you have Mironov. There's a lot of awesome players on this team. But I did trade away a lot of players to make sure that we were good this last season. And we went 67, We went 67, 11, and 4. 10-0 in our last 10 games. And I think we're on an even longer winning streak than that. But today we are going to see what the entire league looks like, and we will be starting with the Anaheim Ducks. We will be going in alphabetical order because I feel like it. And if you are not here for this episode, hey, some people asked for it, some people didn't, but I'll just be talking about the league. I know we haven't seen a lot of these Western teams because I don't really pay attention to the West because we're in the East, and I rarely ever get to play Western teams. We've been to the Cup Finals, 12 times? Won 8? Going for a 9th? You never know. So, Anaheim. I haven't seen a lot of you, Anaheim. I really, really haven't. I know you drafted a franchise player a long time ago. I almost traded for him, or tried to, and was shot down because Anaheim, you're a bunch of losers. But let's start from the top. Howard Guerin, 24 years of age. Hey, that's a pretty awesome player to have. 2nd overall pick 6 seasons ago. I can do math. That's not a bad player. That's a pretty solid first-line center. He is 24. He's got a little more room to grow. 3 more years. He's not the best defensive player. I think because Anaheim overall isn't the best regular season team. I don't think they made the playoffs. I got Moise Sanford, 36 years of age, playmaker. Dunham, 34 years of age. That's a good top line, but I see here it really falls off. They're not really a good team. They got, wow, that's a name. Harvey Wengranovsky. Okay, that's easier than I thought it was going to be. They got Jared Weidman, Mink. So a few older players on this team. The youngest player that I see right now is Guerin, their first-line center. 3rd line, they got Hodgson, who's younger. Brennan Wood, and then you got Kai Tarky, 18 years of... Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Anaheim, hey. Your 2 biggest forwards going to the future. I mean, Guerin, what kind of contract is he on? Not a great contract, but, everybody's worth a lot of money in this day and age. Tarky is on his entry-level contract. 85 overall. He was just drafted. That is a player to have heading into the future. That is it. That's going to be a good 1-2 punch. He should be higher in the lineup. 4th line ain't looking anything special. Defense? How's that? Okay, they got... Okay, you know what? I've seen a lot of really bad defenses in the previous playoff rounds. We've seen just mediocre, like 80 overall, 81 overall as their top defenseman, but they have a nice little core here. They have a younger top defenseman in Avery Cavan. Top 2 defenseman, 87 overall, medium elite. $11 million, he's probably worth it. That's not a bad player to have there. Then they got Quentin Dryden, 30 years of age, so he's in that age range where they have to start winning, because I don't know what kind of $11 million contract. They put a lot of money into their top 2 defensemen, but that can win you playoff games. Cameron Holt is on the younger side. They got Hunt, they got Sekera, and they got Corazzini. So they have a nice little defensive core here in Anaheim. I get it. I also get why they're not the best. They don't have that power line. You know, Columbus had the MVP line for better or closer to a decade, or longer than that, actually. Andrew Dunham is a really solid power forward, but 69 points, nice. He is a 100-point player. Previously in Colorado, he comes over here to Anaheim, doesn't have as much success, but they have pieces in place to go farther. Goaltending, they got an older Dale Meyer, 35 years of age. That's not great. Then they got Pear, 23 years of age, fringe starter. I'm not sure what they have in the system. Scratch players are looking like this, 21 years of age. Oh, that's not a bad player either. So they have pieces in place. They will be a good team. They just need to get a few more lottery picks, and they should probably be a bit better. Arizona. I have not seen you very much. We did steal Yuri Kovalev from you in a fantastic trade. You also got Khalil Fallon. I'm happy to see that he is working out well here in Arizona. 59 points in 82 games. He jumps up. One of his iffy seasons, you know, he was always a really solid around that period of time from 2035 to about 2040. He was so good, and he was playing less minutes. 16 minutes, 18 minutes a few seasons. He wasn't playing a lot of minutes, but he put up points, which just shows you how versatile of a player he is. I mean, he was such a good player for this team. I'm happy that he's having a little bit of success there in Arizona. But is that Samu Makinen? That's Samu freaking Makinen! Hey, bud! Wow. How have you been doing, bud? 378 points in 916 career games. You know what? Ever since you went to Arizona, you were a pretty solid defensive player for them. +8, +5, +2, +7, putting up really solid points. As like a fourth, third line player, that's good for you. I'm happy to see that. I love seeing former Blue Jackets succeed. First line, okay. Ruslan Vorbiev, second line center, 86 overall, medium elite. That is a good player to have. $6.6 million for the next 4 years. You have him locked up to a decent contract. He's going to get paid, but for right now, you're in a contending window. That first line is really solid, and I see it could drag you into a playoff spot. Melvin Potter's 24, also medium elite. That's a solid player to have. Then you got Mikhail Bobkov, 30 years of age, 91 overall. $8 million. He's going to have to be signed up to a contract relatively soon, if he hasn't already been extended. Then you got Ken Skuin, 35 years of age. Then you got Cohen, 33. So an older second line, but put solid points maybe? I'm not sure. 77 points. And then Skuin had how many points? 63. So that second line put up decent numbers. Third line, you got Drury, 33. Webb, Huberdeau, they're an older team. Their youngest player there is Vorbiev at 23. Okay. So they definitely rely on their old guys to get it done. I mean, their two youngest guys there are their future. They are definitely their future, Melvin Potter and Vorbiev. Not a bad team. And they got Riot Reedier here, 27, not a bad player. Probably should be higher up in the lineup if we're being honest. Defense, another solid defensive core. Is it just the Eastern Conference that has bad defensive cores? They got Tommy Nash, 27, Jermaine, 33, who is contending for a Norris this year, but I think ya boy Abel Carlos is going to take it home this year. Wisnowski, 26, Pominville, 23, who has a solid potential and he's a good age. Reveres and Cahill. That's a really solid D-core. I get why they are definitely a playoff team. Definitely. Goaltending, They got a Par Muller, former Columbus Blue Jacket, and then they got Roger Lowry. Okay, I get it. Scratch players. Nothing super special there. So they're an older team. So their time to win is now. Okay. The Boston Bruins. Now let's bring it all the way back to about 2019-2020, where we traded Cam Atkinson to the Boston Bruins. I believe they went out and won the Stanley Cup that year, if I'm not mistaken. We traded for 2 firsts, Vakanainen, something like that. We got David Backes, and the first, that first round pick the first year, can't recall what it turned into, but I know that Boston finished 12th in the lottery, but their pick moved up to first overall, where we selected the best defenseman in the modern era, Stu Cam, and there's no doubt in my mind, 8 Stanley Cups, what a wizard. I wish he was still on this team. So Boston and I have a bit of history. Grayson Nielsen, 27, Druin Delorier, and Kamel's 40. Dude ain't quitting. 4th overall pick in 2022, does not want to die. I get it. I get it. That's understandable. Then they got Antonio. They got Clements is 36. Dixon, Spiller, Kruger. Okay, they're an older team. They don't have a lot of youth on this team. Their youngest player is 27. They don't have anybody under 26. I mean, they have 26 right here. They have Forsberg, who's 25, but not a great potential. Decent 4th line center there. So I can tell that their time to win is right about now. Defense, so looking, you know what? They got Gordy Alcock, who is a stud, drafted by Boston about a decade ago. That's a solid defenseman to have on your team. Looks like he doesn't put up fantastic numbers in the regular season. He is a defensive defenseman, but his plus-minus has been god-awful a few years. But he's a solid stay-at-home defenseman. But after that, it's nothing too impressive. Schwartz, Kidd, Hamhuis, Volk. Volk, top 6. Alcock is their franchise defenseman. Their goaltending. Melvin Dowdy. That's a hard name to say. Drafted by Boston, and then it got Kane as the backup. So a solid tandem there. Scratch players, Faith, not bad. Not a bad team. Their weakest part would probably be their lack of defense. They'd need to get up on wingers. I mean, their top line is really solid. Second line is worse, but Clements is pretty solid. They're an okay team. I get it, Boston. You're older, though. Buffalo. I mean, one of the top scorers in the league, Josh Paul. Oh, that first line is gorgeous. I would hate to run into them into the playoffs. Alexei Kumatov, 35. Josh Paul, who is 28. Tulipov, who is 27. So that first line is a powerhouse in the league, and they know how to throw around their weight. Second line, Dahlman, 27. Shanahan, who is 25, top 6. Potential first line forward, apparently. That's drafted 14th. You know, that's a solid player to have on your team, and he's younger. Tannenby. They got Patrick Archer. Rocky Fuller. Not a bad player. Melnick. Leclerc, McNabb, and Jones. An older team, especially their star players, are a bit on the older side. Defense. Ooh, that is not a solid defensive core. I'm not going to lie. Buffalo, I'm not going to lie. Your best defenseman is an 80 overall. But that offensive core can definitely drag you into a playoff spot. But it always comes down to goaltending, doesn't it? Yes. Albert Mester is their best goalie here, and they have a fantastic duo. Clarence Festrani is a solid backup goalie to have. Okay. Buffalo also has a very solid team. Defense is definitely their weakest part. Scratch player and Oldrich Kuba. Yeah, Buffalo, your time to win is also now. There are a few things I would look to fix. You are on the older side, but your star players are in their prime right now. Kumatov is not going to get any better. Josh Paul is not going to get any better. You got to win right now. with your goalies being the best they're ever going to be, you need to win right now. The time to win is right now. Carolina? Do we skip Carolina? Just so we can, you know what, we're going to skip Carolina. We're playing Washington in the first round. Duh, I'm stupid. Let's talk about Carolina. They eliminated us last year. The reigning Calder winner in Bernard Lalime. That is a solid player to have going into the future. 23 years of age, top 6 potential. Kerslake, Tikkanen. Those are 2 great vets to have around your future or your current top line center, but he's your future. You got McKinley, who's 35. Stanton, who's 24. Stanton is a fantastic player. Power forward. I'm surprised he's not up there on the first line, but apparently they work. Lalime, how is he in the regular season? 89 points. Yeah, that first line can get it done. Dadonov, 26. McKinley, Stanton. Yeah, I get it. A lot of teams put all their money into their top 2 lines or 3 or 4 really solid players and hope that their depth can be league average and they make it in the playoffs and those top guys can do their damage. I've seen a lot of teams like that. Washington in a few years. Tampa Bay in a few years. New York Islanders. It tends to happen sometimes. They put all their money into their top guys, and sometimes they come out on top, sometimes they get swept, but you never really know. Sometimes EA is going to be on your side, sometimes you get swept in the first round, even though you're the President Trophy winning team. Sometimes it's like that. DeRosier, Irving, Tenby. They got a younger guy on the 4th line. Not a bad player. Not really a prospect anymore, though. So their offensive core is really solid. Their center core is definitely up there. No, I wouldn't say there's just a guy that's going to take it offensively. I mean, Kerslake, yeah, 100 points. He's definitely the guy you run the puck through. Defense. Not as bad as what I've seen in the past. Martikanen, Stamkos, Denisov, Agostino, Bernars, and Cashman. So their biggest guy here is Martikanen. They could definitely win a playoff round or 2 if they felt like it, really. Goaltending, Rich Subban, who beat us last year, you dirty, rotten bastard, you scratch players, O'Byron and Ellington. You know what? That's also another really solid team. Both conferences so far are putting out really solid teams. Their top players are definitely getting it done. I can't wait to see just a trash team here. Hopefully I do. That'd be great. Calgary. I've seen worse. Okay. Let's start from the top. Melvin Harold, 36 years of age. He's a solid player. 7th overall draft pick, 92 points. 1,300 career points, almost 1,400. He'll come back next season and put up 1,400. Easy. It's a good first-line center. Tom Kovacs, 30 years of age. 101 points. Okay, yeah, that first line's getting it done. Dave Schneider, 24 years of age. Top 6 potential. He's your young guy. He's your young gun. 87 points is his career best so far. 4th career NHL season. That's a solid player. And then second line, Hanula, not on the young side. Carlson, who's 25, not the greatest potential, but more of a third liner. Canzanello is 83 overall, 23 years of age, low elite, so he's on the swing there. He could either go way up or he could just level out and be an 82 or an 81 for the rest of his career. If he has an off year, he's not going to grow at all, but he looks like a solid player, 63 points. Not bad in his 3rd season. I don't think he'll ever be more than an 83 overall, you know? And their depth doesn't really impress me. I mean, they got a young guy in Corey's top 6 potential. That is big to see. Yoshida, Josephson, who's a high top 9. I rarely ever see those. He's two-way forward, which is just beautiful. Oh my god, that's a name. Aaron Van Den Bruscher. No thank you. Honestly, after the first line, I'm not very impressed. Their depth ain't going to get it done in a game or in a 7-game series. First line can totally drag them to a playoff spot, though. Defense. Not the best. Coletta is their top defenseman, and he's 34. How much is he making? Let's take a guess. I'm saying he's making more than 10. 8. Oh, that was my second guess. Agostino, who's 20, and he's got a top 4 potential. And he's a top 6, so they're playing him a little too much. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys like we've had in the past. Great overall, great potential, really young, and he's not going to grow into anything special. McPherson, McIver, Mapletop. I've seen his name thrown around the league a plenty. $5 million. Yeah, totally worth it. And Ellington. They're not a playoff team. If I were to simulate 82 games with them, they would struggle a lot. I feel it would be up to line chemistry. I feel like I'd have to make a lot of trades at the deadline to make this team workable and a threat in the playoffs. Goaltending, how is it? Boro is their top goalie. Okay, a good goalie can always take you to the playoffs. 33 wins in the regular season, not the best stats. He's never been over 9. He's been over 900 once in recent memory. Not recent memory, sorry. That was when he was a backup goalie. Mika Alin. It's not a bad tandem, but if this guy goes out, you're going to have a rough time. Any scratch players? Chivier and Ziegler. Okay. Calgary, you're not a playoff team. Straight up, you're the first team that I've seen that have been like, you're not a playoff team. I'm sorry. Chicago. Okay. Alexis Lafreniere is still playing, and you're playing him at center. How is 42? 42. Oh my God. Please don't retire. If he comes back for another season, he'll hit 2,000 games. That would be awesome. Has an NHL player ever played 2,000 games? Hold on, I'm Googling it live. Hold on, we Googling it live. Alexis Lafreniere, are you going to break any NHL records? Most NHL, come on, we can do this. NHL games, come on, games played. No, you've already shattered it. Oh my God. Gordie Howe only played 1,767 games. Is seriously? What? That can't... Really? Yeah. Well, hot damn. Next closest guy is Mark Messier. Wow. So no player has ever played 2,000 games. I hope he comes back for another season. I guess that'll just be up to our imagination. But that is... What a damn fine career for yourself. I mean, how many career points does he have? I didn't even notice that. I didn't even check. He's almost at 2,000 career points. What a fantastic pick. I hope he simulates like this in other series or other franchise modes I play. And he was drafted by Detroit, and he was not great to start his career, if I can recall. So if he had a few better seasons there to start his career... Oh, bless me. I'm not cutting that out. Yeah, he was not great to start his career, and then once he got to Washington, he really went off. He was really solid. A few hundred points here. Not a bad career for himself, though. Not a bad career, but let's start from the top. I'm done talking about Alexis Lafreniere. First line is a bit on the older side. Charlie Grummet Morris, who I've seen in the conversation for the Maurice Richard Trophy plenty of times. 48 goals, perennial 30-goal scorer. What a damn fine player, 434 goals at the age of 34. He's a solid player. As I can see right here, their forward core could definitely get them to the playoffs. Burkholz, 27. Also not a bad player. Queen Eves, 35. So they're older. That first line's a bit older. I mean, Burkholz isn't going anywhere, but those two guys there are going to drop off very suddenly, but is their second line any hope? Charles Harrington, 25, top 6 potential. That's a guy that could totally take over for Grummet Morris. Probably not going to have the same production at all. Yeah, he's not the same player. He's probably a playmaker. Brust? I wanted to say Brust. Older, 29, so he's around his prime, not a bad player. And then you got Wild, Gale Wild. So that top 6 is definitely on the older side. Speaking of old, Alexis Lafreniere centers the third line with Green, Penzik, Lapalainen, Reichel, 24, and then DiPietro. That's not a bad forward core. Their top 9, excluding Penzik and Green, is solid. It can definitely drag them to a playoff spot. Defense, okay, that's probably why Von Claire is their best defenseman. 21, top 4 to potential, so he's going to be their future guy. Brewer, who's 28, Andrews, who's 29, Trojanovic, who's 24, could get a bit better, Morrow, and Flattery, who's 25. So if I were them, I would definitely draft defense heavy, because defense wins championships, as you've seen in Columbus. Goaltending, how's it looking? Methot, former Blue Jacket, and then you got Radoslav Martinic. I've seen this guy's name at the top of the league a few times. 902 this year, 34 wins. He's usually good for 30, 40 wins, especially in his prime. Not a bad goalie. Okay, Chicago, I see. Scratch players. Okay, that's another defenseman. So their defensive core is around middle of the pack, as what I've seen so far. So they're a playoff team. Their time to win is right now, because they're not very young. Excluding Charles Harrington, they are going to drop off very quickly, and they'll be a lottery team. Colorado. Yeah, we faced this team, I believe, in our last Stanley Cup Finals appearance? Nasir Peverley is a scary player. You put the captaincy on this guy right now. $14 million over the next 8 years. This guy is 100% worth it. 50 goals this year. Minus 24, though, which is a big iffy. That's not great. Exact same amount of points in the last 2 years. He's good for a point per game. Yeah, this guy is the real deal. 13 power play goals. I remember when this kid came to the league, won the Calder. He is scary. I wish I could see his career unfold, but too bad. Then you got Craig Sullivan and Sek Smith, who's 23, top 6 potential. Colin Blue, I can't say that. Not even going to try. Madsen and Kadri. So, okay. Yeah, no. Their bottom 6 is not the best. Definitely not the best defense. Not defense, but you know what I mean. Bottom 6. After Nasir Peverley, it's not the best team. First line's fine, excluding Sek Smith, but I guess he's there for some reason. But after Nasir Peverley, I'm not scared of this team. Maybe maybe what they lack in the forward position, they make up in the defensive position. Francis Swift, baby, former Blue Jacket, won a cup with us, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, no, he didn't. I think we traded him to Edmonton, and then he beat us in the finals. Or I can't remember. That might have been a year we went back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's a minus player, not gonna lie. I mean, the stats don't lie. Sven Hanula, 22, elite player. Wow, that is a player that is going to be good really quickly for you. I mean, I haven't seen many elite players so far, so that is quite good to see, especially for you. I mean, after Hanula, they got Verdino. I mean, nothing super special except Hanula. Hanula is definitely their future there in Colorado. Any big goalies there? Stevenson? Cullingmore. That's a really solid tandem. Stevenson's 23, medium. Oh, yeah, they got a few awesome players there, but their time to win, I would say, is right now. Their depth, not good. Offense in this simulation gets you to the playoffs. Don't know if it wins you series in the playoffs, but it gets you there. And they're lacking in some departments. Goaltending's really solid. Defense is better than a few teams around the league, but they're definitely not a playoff team. They're not. Dallas. Okay, we can work with it. Hakana, 31 years of age, not a bad player. Hansel's 29, and Bertuzzi's 30. Bertuzzi is such a stud. First overall pick in 2032, 12 years ago. Man is an absolute beast. 93 points last season. He's usually good for an over 90. Yeah, he's a beast. 1,100 points in 973 career games. Absolute stud. Second line, Kreischmann. Did I even say that right? Kreischmann. Yeah, I said that right. Hatala, and then you got these names. What did you just go to Finland for all your players? No, he's okay. Apparently he's German. And Kolmanen. That's a really solid top six. No other superstars except Bertuzzi and Hakana. They don't have just a driving offensive force there. I mean, Hansel's 101 points, so I am mistaken. He's a really solid playmaker. He's a sniper. What? He's a sniper, and he had 29 goals though, which isn't that bad. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ole Jorgensen helped us win a Stanley Cup, 84 overall. Not a bad player. 35 years of age, 48 points, minus 14 though. They're an older team, I can tell. They're an older team. Sweetland, which is an awesome name. Danner, and 22 years of age. Hebert, sorry. Defense, Walker, Chance Walker, Kurvinen, Alfredson, not bad. Holmstrom and Kemppainen and Stahl. That is a really solid defensive core. They are a playoff team so far. I think they are. Goaltending, Carter Phillips and Edgar Sadu, that turned out to be absolute nothing. We lost him for a season, and then we got him back. You know what I mean. If you don't remember that whole saga, go all the way back. It's probably like EA stole my goaltender or something like that. But solid goaltending. Really solid offense, very deep offensive core. They're a playoff team. Detroit. Yes, the dumpster fire that is Detroit. Yes, Detroit. We're going to have a talk. Terrence Ollie is your best player. First line forward, second overall pick 14 years ago. He's stuck by your side and you've given him nothing. He looks like a solid player. Doesn't put up the best points, but I don't blame him. You haven't really put anything with him to succeed. But it's Detroit. Whoever's running you needs to be thrown into the sun. Blake Kane, who I remember him always being on the trade block and always being up there and never really growing into a big player. I mean, his best offensive season looks to be 76 points, 80. You know what? He was a decent player when Detroit looked really solid there, and then they just shat the bed, and they were a bad team again. So I don't know what. Usually teams are really solid in EA with being bad for a few years, getting their lottery picks, getting a few really awesome young players, and then becoming a solid team. I see that a lot, but Detroit, I don't know what it is. They're not a good team, and they've been a good team twice. I think they've made the playoffs 2 years out of the full 25 seasons we've played. They got Alzner. Rupp is 34. Olsen, yeah, exactly. When your best center is an 84 overall, you're not going to be a playoff team. Then you got a 24 years of age, Pat Bouma. That's a solid player, but I feel bad for him because he's stuck here in Detroit, and you have all the cap space in the world to make sure you sign them. That's why there's so many homegrown prospects here. You don't go out of your way to go out in free agency and make yourself a better team. Damon Day is 23, elite player, so you have pieces here that work, but what are you doing? Are you not drafting? Johansson, Saunders, who's not a bad player, Reveres, Van Riemsdyk, and Welsh. They're not a playoff team, as what I've seen so far. Defense, okay, I can see it. Elias Huskins is their best defenseman here. Okay, so that's what you get for being bad. 2029 pick, 32 years of age. That's a solid. That's your best. That's the best player on your team. There's no doubt about it. Mason Fairchild, Klein, Biron, Gibson, and Campbell. What I see so far, one defenseman is not going to make you help the playoffs. I'm sorry. Goaltending. What? So we have a Shane Wright, and they have a Shane Wright. I just confirmed it. What? That's so cool. I've never seen that before. Wow, that's crazy. So you have the franchise player in Shane Wright playing on the Columbus Blue Jackets, who spent most of his career with Edmonton. And then you have a goaltender drafted in the second round 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I can't do math. It's not a bad goalie. And Juntunen, not an older backup. Scratch players, Bonk. Oh, whoa. Okay, Detroit. That is a player and a half. Jakob Bonk. That is the best name I've ever seen. Jakob Bonk. Well done. Okay, Detroit, you have pieces here for the future. You just need to go out and you need to make a difference. You need to go out, make a few trades, bolster the offensive core. But Bonk, healthy, he's a dangerous player. But I feel bad for him because he's stuck here in Detroit. Edmonton, losing your franchise players in the last decade, Connor McDavid, Shane Wright, it sucks. What do you have here? Oh, they don't. Oh, no. There's nothing of, like, star value here. You got Lucas Inglis, who we had for a few years, if I'm not mistaken. We had him for 3 whole seasons. Wasn't the best player. Traded him to Detroit. He hasn't been a bad player. Straight up, but he's their first-line center here in Edmonton. Binarl. Yeah, they don't have anything of note here after being one of the best teams on the planet for a very long time. Their offensive core is nothing noteworthy. Defense? Yeah, their best defenseman here is Valcourt. Yeah, nothing of note. Edmonton, you're not in a good position. I'm hoping that there's prospects off screen that I can't see in your building, because right now there's nothing of note and you're not a good team. Goaltending. You got Carter Tarnasky, but it all depends on how well his defense is doing, right? Because you don't have a solid defensive core. Your goaltender isn't going to be the goaltender you want him to be. So Edmonton, you get a C. You don't pass because it looks like you're not a young team. You're not a young team. On to the next one. The Florida Panthers. How are you looking? We faced you a few times. I believe when we made the playoffs for the first time in this franchise mode, we played you, if I'm not mistaken. First line center is Samu Hakkinen, Wade Crosby, and Carlos. That's a really solid first line. You got Darby. You got, oh my god, Emil Albert Schauer. Oh my god. But after that, yet again, there's nothing of note. Darby's not bad, but their top 6 players on this team are solid. That first line can definitely do some damage in the regular season. I'm not sure if they're a postseason team. And they got Elliot Batalagila, who I wanted so bad, but we got Luke Wheeler instead, and I'm so sad that we couldn't move up and get him because he looks like such a solid player. He was a -48 this season, but they probably weren't the best team. Oh yeah, I feel bad for him because he doesn't have anything else here. I mean, they got a medium elite Joninla. After that, nothing of note. Why can't I say that? Battleagila. What? Glia. I can't really say that. Goaltending. They got Ruben Booth. Okay. They're not. What am I trying to say here? Oh, and pick up the pace. Battleagila is your best player. He's so young. He's so full of potential. He's gonna be your best player. He's probably your captain. If not, make him your captain right now because he's your future. But they have some pieces in place. If they want to go out and win right now, they got to dip their hand into free agency. If they don't have bad contracts on the team, they have a solid goaltender. They can go out and make a run if they wanted to. Los Angeles. Now, this is the team. This is the team that we faced in the finals before. Corey Mass, Earl Cousins. They got Jesper Kruger, who just destroys leagues when he wants to. What a player. 1,500 points in 1,463 games. Absolute stud. Usually good for 190 points. Not 190 points, 900 or 100 points. You know what I mean. Franchise player. Absolute beauty. Any younger guys on this team? Gibson's 23. The top line is scary. They can definitely make the playoffs with just that first line going off. Defense. Did they not? Did they forget they had a defensive core they had to worry about? Justice Simmons, who is a former Norris winner, if I'm not mistaken. He's 34, so he's dipping off here a bit. Not a good defensive core. Yeah, that is... I hope they have some injuries. Goaltending. Caden Marshall, 32. Scratch players, Amito, Danner, and Reich. They could definitely put better players around this top line. If they want to go out and succeed, they got to have a good defensive core. You need defensemen in this league to go far. Because if you can just break the mold from the rest of the league and be better on the defense, you have that. Forwards are not that expensive if you really want to go out and acquire one. They're not. Defense is hard to get. So if you draft well defensively, you're going to have those guys in the pipeline. You're going to have their rights. And then you can just work on everything else. You have a solid goaltender. Come on, Detroit. Not Detroit. LA. Minnesota. Malone is 24. He's your guy, as I can tell right now. Humphreys. Pispinen. What a name. They got Ludwig Bang, what a name. Clermont, 24. McNaughton's 21. Elite player, and as Clermont is a top 6. So McNaughton's your future. Then they got Nikola Yakupov, Pushkarev, Goldman's 30. Lemaire. Yeah, so they got pieces in places for the future. Their top 6 is fantastic. They're a playoff team. Defense, I've seen worse. I have definitely seen worse. Malishi, Galchenyuk, Mass, Strimbu, Yakupov, Rakos. I can't say that name. I'm not even going to try. It's pretty late at night. I'm not even going to attempt that. Galchenyuk is 20. Yeah, so you have pieces in places to definitely go far into the future. Young guys, you have their rights. You are going to be a good team. I'm not sure if you're going to be a good team currently, but I think with that offensive core, you can go places. Goaltending, Sergei Dmitriev. That's a solid goaltender. You just need a really solid tandem, and you can go places. And then you have Gonchar here. So Minnesota, you get a B+. Montreal. Cunningham is Ooh, Montreal. You are not looking the best. I see 3 players that are solid in your top 6. You have Cunningham, who is easy peasy lemon Febreze. First overall pick by Dallas 11 seasons ago. Cooper, Parks, and Coruscant. There's 25. Parks is 21, so he's going to be your future currently. Yeah, after that, nothing. Great, Montreal. Ugh, that's sad. Defense, you have an older Louis Urstoff, who's getting older. I believe he was robbed of the Nords last year. I wish he won it. Too bad he didn't. He's a solid player. He's always been a solid player. 757 points, so he's half a point per game in his career. He's a solid player. I think he's great. He's always been good. Whenever we played him, he was definitely one of their best players on their team. Pierre Jakobsen, former Blue Jacket, never turned into anything. I was right. Vico Hika, yeah. They're getting older. They don't have anything here that I'm super excited about. I'm sorry, Montreal. Any good goalies in the pipeline? Hugo Leperrier, former Blue Jacket, and then you have Jerome Julian. Any scratch players? Nothing. Montreal, you get a C. As in the grade C. Not that I can see clearly now because the rain ain't gone, Montreal. You're in a bad position. New Jersey. Ugh. Okay, why is Drake Janes your first line center? I feel so bad for this guy. Manuel Bednarz. Oh, that first line is not nice. Just move those guys up. Do him a favor. Do him a favor. How many points did he have in the regular season? 78. He probably would have done a lot better if you put solid guys next to him. You got Darby, Walensky, Cuff. So if you could just move those two guys right there are just eyesores. Janes and Aston are major eyesores. Third line, you got Sabrikin, Makinen. And then after that, Edgar Menino, who's former Blue Jacket. And then you have Alexander Labrie, who is not the Labrie we had on our team for so long. They have pieces here. They just need to be more effective with them. So if you could move them up and move Janes and Aston to the third, they would look a lot better. So the coach has some problems. Defense, Christoph Schroeder, who is old as dirt, 38 years of age. Muller. They're not a strong defensive team. Do they have a good goalie? AJ Sasky, who was he with them? No, he wasn't with San Jose this year. I was thinking of somebody else. San Jose has a goalie with a very similar name to that, if I'm not mistaken. He doesn't put up the best regular season stats, but I can't blame him. They have a legendary goalie in Gordy Crosby, 37 years of age. I remember this guy. I believe he was the guy that broke Vyacheslav Kavanaugh's Vezina streak of 6 years or something crazy like that. A solid goalie. A really solid goalie there as your backup. Scratch players, Biggs, Suminen, yeah. So the coach has some problems. Coach gets an F- with the way he deploys his team. But they have pieces here for the future. They're not a playoff team. I don't think they are. Nashville. First line is looking... Ooh, Nashville. Sven Davidson, the first overall pick 2 seasons ago, or I guess 2 drafts ago. Franchise player, yeah, he is your future. He should be your captain right now. In his sophomore season, 88 points. 281 shots. This guy is going to be good. He's already good. Just play him everywhere. Play him literally everywhere in the lineup. But after, solid first line. You're putting solid players around him, which I've seen with a few teams where they have one really awesome young guy on their first line and not good players around him, so he's not as effective. But with Perreault and McCann, those are 2 awesome guys to have around Davidson. Clarkson, who's younger, the high top 6 potential. Also another really young guy, Arthur Nokes, 24, and Denis is 29. So a nice little balance there of youth and veterans. Okay. Third line, Benin is the only noticeable guy there, and Wenrich is okay. Riviette, former Blue Jacket, who turned into a solid player. So they have pieces there to contend. I think they're a playoff team if they deploy them right. Defense, I've seen worse. Kutta, Urquhart, not bad. Meshany, McCann. I have seen worse. That bottom pairing is like makes me want to throw up because of how garbage it is. Goaltending, they have anybody solid in net. They have Gabriel Glow. What a name. Medium elite though. And then Olsen, who's 29. Not a bad tandem. Any scratch players? Brodin, so that, yeah, their defense is solid. If you add him back onto there, they're solid defense. So Nashville, I think you're a playoff team. If you go out there and acquire another top centerman, I think you could be dangerous here in the future, especially with your young guys. The New York Islanders, we've had troubles with you in the past, so let's talk it out. Your top center is Gustavo Dehus, can't really pronounce that. Glenn Fitzmaurice. Then you got Courtnall, so an older first line. Tolfson, Piton, and Linzen, so they definitely rely on their vets. After that, they got Winchester, who's younger, medium top 6. Don't know if he's going to get any better than that if you don't deploy him right, especially if he's a second line forward playing on the third. He's not going to get much better. But as I can see right now, they can contend. Defense, I take it back. Tillett. Usually when you see a stronger offensive core with solid top 6, they put a little bit of money in their defense, but it's not strong. When you have an 80 overall as your best defenseman, you better have a good goalie. So Kirk Giordano, former Blue Jacket, and Zarkov. Not the worst thing in the world. Not the best scratch players either. So I would say they can contend for a playoff spot. Their depth could be a lot better. They don't have a lot of star power on this team anymore, especially when they lost Edo Iguchi. New York Rangers. Skinner is the most notable player here, as I can see right now. Corbin, 30. Well, Lindsay's 25, so younger first line. If you could go out there and get like just a great first line center, you could go places. Then you got Davidson, who isn't the worst. Weller's 20, and he's a medium elite. Yeah, you got a nice little offensive core there, ready for the future. I wouldn't be too worried in that department. And you know what? Defense ain't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Caden Maloney, Gauthier, Harrington. Those are 3 really awesome defensemen, so you can go far, but it always comes down to goaltending, doesn't it? Mendoza is their top goalie, not the best goalie in the world, but you know EA is crazy and it doesn't matter what kind of goalie you have. Right? Scratch players. Cool. So, the Ottawa Senators. Oh, we checked their defense first, but Benzina, not a bad guy. 24 years of age, medium elite. Then you got Berglund. Yeah, they have one of the better defenses I've seen so far, especially... Oh, no, he's a forward. Excuse me. Now, and they get an F- just for doing that. Okay. So they're a bit older here except for Philip Goulet, who is their future for sure. Obviously, Vance, Bruin, Scoville. Scoville. Bruins on the younger side, 25, so he's in his prime. Or pick Fragapane, Spike Fragapane, Walker Cowan, so they have a few former Blue Jackets on this team. Mancari. That's a pretty solid forward core. They can totally make the playoffs. Defense is... it's not that bad. Goaltending. Braden Matvichuk, they're definitely a playoff team with this squad. They have a few younger guys, they're getting older, so their time to win is right about now. Philadelphia, Lucas Jarre, 26, Denisov, and then you got Simard. So, Yuri Denisov. Cool. First line's really solid. Stafford's 29, Pollock's 38, so after that, Caleb Dietz, former Blue Jacket. So the league is just littered with Blue Jacket rejects, by the way. So, not the worst team in the world. Not the worst, but they definitely got to go out there and get a little bit of star power. Defense, Popovich, Trojanovic. Those are two really awesome defensemen to have there. They can take you places. Goaltending. Oh, yikes. That's the worst goalie tandem I've seen so far. So they put a lot of money into their offense and their defense, and they kind of forgot about goaltending. Pittsburgh. So their best player, obviously, 33 years of age, their franchise guy in Mark Canzanello. I remember when this guy was drafted, and I'm like, hot damn, he's good. I believe he's been... How many times has this guy been in the playoffs? Not that many times in his career. That is sad to see. Not more than one first round or second round appearance. That sucks for you, man. That's big yikes. Kamitsky, Murr's 19 and he's a medium elite, so that's a nice guy going to the future. Voloshenko is 25. Kincaid's not too shabby. Pisani's a medium elite, so they have a lot of really awesome guys. Especially molding them around Canzanello is really smart on their end. Defense, I'm not even going to look at that. It's that bad. Goaltending, Fournier ain't too shabby. He's 24, and he's a medium elite. Not a bad guy to have there. Lowry is also scratched, so they're not a bad team. Pittsburgh, then with San Jose. Laxo led the league in points, I believe. 31 years of age. Jams and Tikhonov. That first line is scary. Older, especially Jams, but they're a solid oh my god, Jordy and Nokes. They are a win-now team. They put so much money into their forwards. I'm scared that their defense and their goaltending is going to be suspect. I get why they started out of the gate really fast. Hemingway, Smiles, so former Blue Jacket, obviously. Or I guess Hemingway is also a former Blue Jacket. Of course, so a few former Blue Jackets on this team. They are a damn good forward team. Defense, you know what? They definitely could have been worse. Tom Mancari is a perennial Norris winner. Domingue, LaRose, it's pretty solid defensive core. Goaltending, you have Aiden Sakic. This is a fantastic team. This is the best team that I've seen so far. They could have put a bit more money into their depth, but those top 6 guys, their top 9 is really, really solid. They get an A+. St. Louis. I've met you in the finals plenty of times. Now, how do you look for the future? Top line is really solid. Dmitriev ain't bad. After that, Nyquist is not really that young, so they're a win-now team, as I can tell. Dubnyk, yeah, they're a win-now. They're definitely a win-now team. Defense, Herbert, Anthony, and then it kind of drops off after that. Goaltending, Kale Forstrom, who is a solid goaltender, former Blue Jacket, obviously. Scratch players, not the worst in the world. Then you got the Tampa Bay Lightning, who, Camden Tennell and Threfall are going to light up the league. Binarl, 32. Was he up there in goals this year? 23, ain't bad. Not a bad player. Not a bad player. So their top 6 is really solid, as I can see right here. On the older side, so they're definitely a win-now team. Nestorov. After that, it's not the best. Defense, Gerber, Corso, and after that, it kind of drops off. Goaltending, they got Blake Cavan and they got Asher Peters, who I've seen plenty of times in the postseason. And scratch players, Ennis is their most notable guy there. So Tampa Bay, you're a win-now team. You need to make the playoffs every year. Toronto, Maddox, Heatley, their center depth is nothing special. Heatley, not a bad prospect. He's not even a prospect. So we got a few younger players on this team. Garon, Ubergar, Heatley. Yeah, it kind of drops after that, though. Nothing super notable. So they have 2 Heatleys on this team. Are they brothers? I hope they are. Defense, Morrow, Swanson. Morrow, I always believe he tied in points with Abel Carlos this year, 73 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 73. He's not winning it, though, because Abel Carlos had double the plus minus. Swanson is great. He is your future. That is the best. He's the best player going forward, easily. Goaltending, AJ Maui. You know what? They are potentially a playoff team. I think they'd have to fight for it all season long, but I think they could make it. They're rough on the wing and in the center, so it'd be a rough time. But strong defense, strong goaltending, they could probably make it. Vancouver, Ola Silverberg, Higgins, Bryson Higgins, who won the Maurice Richard Trophy last year. He's their best player, easily. Moen, Beniers, really old, 14. Lee, not really that young of a team. Bird, top 6. So they have a few players here. Nothing super special. Defense, yikes. I mean, Markstrom there is their most notable defenseman, 24. No, he's a forward. Never mind. And you get an F-. Desmond Byers is their best. No, well, we gave them to him, really. And they got Max Gerber, so 2 former Blue Jackets, obviously. We know how to draft them, boys. So, they'd have to fight for a playoff spot. I think Higgins is going to drive the offense all around. Solid goaltending, not a really good defense. So they'd be outside of a playoff berth. So the Vegas Golden Knights, who I've not seen once in this entire franchise mode. Marty Mallett's 25, such an awesome name. Isha Schultz, 23, so they're young guys here. Murphy's 33, so the oldest guy here on the first line is Murphy. But that first line is scary. Gannon, 33. Madden's 22. Holmes is 32, so they know how to draft him. Yeah, the top 6, excluding Murphy, is all drafted by Vegas. They got Couture. Yeah, that's a solid offensive core. I'll give them that. Defense, Young, Nievs, that's a solid defensive core. Vegas, you're doing pretty good. Goaltending, can you get the trifecta? Well, Ali Letowski ain't awful. I've seen worse. Not the best regular season goalie, though, which sucks. Any scratch players? Tootin, so you add that to their offensive core. They're that much better. I think they could be a playoff team. They should be in win now mode. Winnipeg Jets, Brand Donalds, Lowry, Forrest. It's not a bad line. Ranger, Kern, Magnuson. Nobody. They're definitely an older team, as I can tell. After that, Burkholz is the most notable guy there. Defense. They put money in their defense. That is a really solid defensive core. So with that, and they're not the greatest offensive core. I mean, they have a few stars there that can go when they want to go, but being backed up by an awesome defensive core really helps. And with a solid goaltending tandem that'll probably split games 41-41, Marcus Eriksson and Colin Wolfe, you're a solid team there. I will give you that, Winnipeg. You get a B. You're in the win now mode. And oops, the Washington Capitals I'm not going to look at. I'm going to leave that for next episode. So that is the entire league 25 years later. And in the next episode, we're not going to finish. Hopefully next episode isn't the final episode, because that would suck. I hope we go out and we win the Stanley Cup after a 67-11-4 season. We should be crushing teams. Thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this one, please leave a like, leave a comment, share it with people who you think may enjoy this sort of thing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.